Iron Lung is written, directed, and starred in by Markiplier, who's also self-financed, self-distributed, basically doing everything all himself, which is great. And no Hollywood studio is a part of it, no outside interference. It's his 100% project. And it's based off a popular video game called Iron Lung of the same name. And essentially what has happened is Earth has gone through a catastrophic apocalyptic event where essentially the seas and oceans have been turned to blood and has whittled down the human population down to about a handful of survivors who have survived this catastrophic event. And we pick up our story on a submarine controlled by an inmate called Simon, who is there, who basically been ordered to explore the oceans and what's beneath them, and if there's like any sort of cave systems or anything living down there, or just to explore and see what is going on and what's happened. Almost like a last ditched effort for the human race to find out what has happened. And essentially the submarine he's in has been sort of built with like spare parts and scrounged from various different other sort of bits of machinery and just sort of botched together this kind of makeshift submarine that he's in, and he has to go and investigate. All he has with him is a compass and a highly radiated X-ray camera to take pictures on, which is his only reference point, as the oceans are high pressure, so they didn't want to have like any sort of windows or glass anywhere to sort of destroy the ship. So he is alone and has to sort of navigate his way in through the oceans and find out what's happened. And the event in question, they call it the Quiet Rapture, and he is there to sort of try and survive this trip. And if he does survive and gathers enough data for them to sort of use and find out how to sort of survive even more, even longer than they already have, then he is granted his freedom or time off his sentence. So this film is actually very, very good. I was pleasantly surprised. And the fact that he did it all on his own, self-financed and self-distributed the film and directed, wrote and starred in it, is a really admirable effort. And it's even more so now it's had its opening weekend, is on track to make over $20 million and is pretty beaten more or less Sam Raimi's film. So it's, I think Sam Raimi's film's now beaten it, but like for a moment there, it was number one film in the country in America. So really, really great. What's good about the film is that essentially it's very faithful to the game. The problem is, if this was a Hollywood film, they would have had to spend 15 meetings trying to decide what color the arrow should be on the compass. They would have spent a committee of people being like, yeah, you know, we should have it like this, we'd have like blah, 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 blah. And the lines would be blurred and the original source material would have just disappeared altogether. And Markiplier was like, nah, I'm just going to copy that. And his passion for this project is evident throughout, which is really, really great. And sometimes that's all you need. It's the first 45 minutes is terrific. It really sets the tone, the characters, and the world that you're going to be in for the next 2 hours. It feels lived in. It feels homemade. It feels like everything's been botched together to build this submarine. It feels really sort of tactile and, yeah, lived in, and which really sets the tone really, really well. It's literally a film just him in this confined space, which makes it feel very claustrophobic for you, the viewer, as well. And the acting he portrays the character of Simon is really great also. I mean, if you were to sort of like nitpick a little bit away at the film, is that there are some aspects of it that are a little bit drawn out, which could have been condensed down a little bit, and maybe perhaps having sort of more of an explanation as to certain parts of the film as well, so just a little bit more detail in other areas. But that's very sort of like minor things about this film that I had issues with. Otherwise, like, it was a really good, solid, valiant effort for a first time filmmaker. In fact, I think this is better than some of the films that came out last year. Some of the films last year were just absolutely woeful, and this trumps it altogether. I really do like the fact that as time goes on, as the time he spent in the submarine, he develops his skills as a pilot and as a navigator as time goes on, giving you that sense of computer game-ness in this film. So it's really great as you sort of figure out how to use the controls and how to use that camera. He basically has only able to take one photo at a time of his surrounding area. He has to develop a way to sort of allow him to do constant photos, and so he uses his ingenuity and his try and make it so that the camera takes constant photos all the time, so he has a better understanding of his location and where he is. There's a sort of mystery surrounding what's underneath the blood-ridden oceans, and you find out over time what's going on, and the fact that they were other missions as well, and he sort of starts to put the pieces together in his mind, which is really great. But sometimes his mind isn't always as reliable as he first thought, and it's almost like the ocean itself is a character in the piece, because it sort of plays tricks on him a little bit, and he starts to unravel and becomes sort of mentally unstable, as you would in such a confined space, just alone by yourself. I mean, there are some high stakes in this film. You know, there's the voice at the other end. There's like, this is going to help us survive the next stage of this apocalypse. You need to go down there and get as much information as possible as you can. The more time you spend down there, the better it is for us. And so it's really great in that respect. Also, he has real urgency as well with the oxygen counter. So at first it sort of goes down a few notches, and you just like, oh, hang on, it's going to run out of energy, run out of oxygen. Yes, it's an element of luck over time where he's like kind of forgets about the oxygen gauge for a while, and you're like, oh wait, hang on a minute. There's a lot of that back and forth sometimes of him forgetting something that happened and then realizing later on, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, I remember that. But yes, very sort of well crafted film at the end of the day for a first time filmmaker in this sort of level. Yes, YouTube he creates every single day, so he got a sense of that here. Like, he's putting all those skills that he had learned from creating videos on YouTube into a mass scale as big as this, and it's proven to be very beneficial. Like, YouTube is a very much an untapped resource. YouTubers create every day, if not 2 or 3 times a week, and posting about stuff they enjoy, the things that they really like, and they know their audience as well, because they can see it on the analytics. They can see the data coming in real time, so they know who they're catering for. They know, we know, as I'm a YouTuber myself, I know like the audience that I'm putting content out for. And so why Hollywood hasn't tapped into this, I do not know. I mean, they'll be stupid not to. And if they don't, they're just gonna, it's just the way content creation is going at the minute. It's authenticity is what is going to be ultimately going to win at the end of the day. And, you know, Hollywood is on downward trajectory, unfortunately, at the minute. And, you know, they need to shake things up. They need to really sort of get, well, creative in the way they make their films and get outside sources to come in and be like, well, this is not what's not working at the minute. And then, you know, this is what is working. You know, the thing is, they're so sort of set in their ways. Like, then I'm willing to sort of get like outside perspective to come in and be like, what you doing, guys? Come on, we know this works. Adopt this. It will help massively. Trust me. This kind of feels like a bit of a moment that we're living in right now, akin to the independent cinema boom of the early 90s, when people like Kevin Smith and Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, Richard Linklater, all these really sort of well-respected filmmakers came in with their own vision, with what their idea of like what a film should be, and with low budgets and not that much experience and just working as they go. It kind of feels like that kind of a moment, but on a much grander scale because of social media and the power of the people coming together for a common cause of creativity and putting out great, authentic content out there. And so this is the world we're living in now. Like, the Hollywood market and the Hollywood way of doing things right now is on a rocky road, because what Markiplier and other YouTube content creators have shown us now is that it's possible to do it on your own. You don't have to have a full studio backing and big actors to come in and work on your project. You can just do it all on your own if you wanted to. And that's what people these days are sort of now sort of drawn on. So yeah, watch your space, because the landscape of content creation is going to be changing massively in the next few years. And I hope that Hollywood realizes this and gets outside perspectives and work together to make entertainment that we all love and want to enjoy. So yeah, so it gives me hope, because it makes me think maybe I could make a film. Maybe I could create something that people will love and resonate with. The possibilities are endless. The world is your oyster. I always go back to the Back to the Future quote: if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. And on that note, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching this video, and remember to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll be doing more film and TV reviews in the next few weeks, and really going to be hitting the ground running even more so. There's so much out there at the minute, and it's just a question of watching it and building that library up so that I can sort of do more of these videos. So if you like this, give us a like, and I shall see you in the next video. Cheers for watching.